Welcome to Enmanji Temple's virtual service. Thank you for joining us today. I am Helen Kobayashi, the chairperson for today. We are observing the November Shotsukihoyo as well as the Hoonko service. The November Shotsukihoyo remembers those persons who have passed away in the month of November. Hoonko is the memorial service for the founder Shindan Shonin. The following are the November Shotsuki honorees. Keiko Hatanaka, Tamayo Hirota, Shina Hirota, Uichi Kameoka, Takashi Kawaguchi, Umekichi Kawabata, Mitsuto George Kawaoka, Seiso Donald Kobayashi, Yoshino Matsumoto, Tomo Okamoto, Ichitaro Shigematsu, Sachie Shimizu, Kamezo Takenaka, Shiichi Taniguchi, Tsuruichi Wakino, Hisano Yamamoto, Teru Yasumoto, Gary Paulson, Charlotte Richards Yoneda, Shikuyo Okazaki, Yoshiko Otani, Esther Mukaida, Reverend Inshu Yonemura, Richard Todman, Juliana Leon Sun, Henry Hideo Shimizu, Arthur Shigeo Sugiyama, Sueko Sakaguchi, Mark Mitsunaga, Reverend Giko Abiko, Margaret Wallman, Makoto Sam Okubara, Walton Wood, Yasuo Wada, Azuma Cleveland, Keiko Ishii, Kaz Mukaida, Yoshiko Yamasaki, and Perry Rittenauer. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Hello everyone, I'm Etsuko Mikame from San Jose Buddhist Church Betsuin. Thank you for having me for online Shotsuki service. So at the beginning of my Dhamma talk, I'd like to share a line which is collected in the Gatha Shoshinge, which is composed by our founder Shunan Shonin. Please join me in Kansho. Of those who encounter the power of a primal vow, no one passes by in vain. They were filled with the treasure ocean of virtues. The defied waters of their blind passion, no separated. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you very much. So in Jodo Shinshu, we understand we are sure to be born into Buddha in the Pure Land after the end of this life by Amida Buddha. However, it doesn't mean Buddha exists somewhere far away from the world. But Buddha always stays by our sides to guide people living in this world to work to the right path. So our loved one already became a Buddha, and now we are all within the Buddha's their grasp. So until about a month ago, we had a big fire in our region. Maybe there are some places where the damage is still going on. So because of the big wildfires around Bay Area, heavy smoke reached our community and worsened the quality of air. The sky was covered by this heavy smoke, and it had been cloudy until the other day. Yeah, recently it's getting better. Yeah, it looked like a late evening. Yeah, late evening all day long due to the smoke. I read this was one of the worst fires that people has experienced. And some people expressed that it was like the end of this world. Some in the article or some social media. I imagine many of you might have been in difficult situations and may have felt anxiety at the time, as well as this pandemic. When we face problems and hardships, we tend to lose sight of ourselves and lock ourselves in our anxieties. Not only our anxieties, but also our prejudice hindered our eyes from seeing the world as it is. So we tend to overlook something important in our lives. I would say the sun still continue to shine our lives, even when the heavy smoke and the cloud hit the sun. When it rains or shines or smoky, the sun always keeps shining on our way. The same with our lives. Come rain or shine in our lives. When you feel sad, happy, angry, although we don't notice its form, we are always within Buddha's compassion. We cannot see it because our eyes hinder our blind passions. But virtues of Buddha always reach here and now. When we hear the essence of Buddhism, we understand that we are always within its grasp. So here, I'd like to share the story about my Ji-chan grandfather, who passed away almost 20 years ago. He was a dedicated Jodo Shinshu minister at our family temple in Shimane, Japan. He passed away. He was a little. When I was a little. Yeah, that I don't have any. Yeah, very many clear memories of my grandfather. It is wonderful to say though. Yeah, that I felt very close to my grandfather, even though I didn't spend much time with him. This is because of Ba-chan, grandmother. She often talked about her husband to me. She always looks so happy when talking about him. Here's one of my favorite stories about my grandfather. As my grandfather was getting older, he suffered from health issues that he had to go back and forth between hospital and home for treatments. One afternoon, when my grandparents were drinking tea at home, Grandma told me that he suddenly said, "When I die, you don't need to worry about me." My grandmother replied with a lonely voice, "Hey, please never say that." Then he continued, "Even if I die, I will be with you just like now. I would even be in the sunlight, which reflects off the raindrops on the roses I planted in the garden. And don't worry about me, because I will be watching over you anytime, anywhere. I'll be with you all the time when you put your hands together in Kansho. So I wish for you to listen and follow the teaching of Amida Buddha." My grandmother to this day, my grandmother used to say, directly said, "So I don't feel lonely at all, because my grandfather, our grandfather, is always with me in Namo Amida Butsu." After we talk, we always put our hands together in Kansho and recite Nembutsu in front of the statue of Amida Buddha at the temple. Since I was a child, I felt like grandfather was tiny and in my hand, like this, and I would try to find him like this. How cute was I? Even after he passed away, when I saw my grandmother talking about my grandfather with a smile, I knew for sure the grandfather was with us. One day, I saw a poem posted on the bulletin board in front of the temple near my house. The moment I saw this poem, I felt like I found the answer to the question I had in my heart. It goes like this: even though the person has gone, kindness still remains here. Even though the person has gone, the word still remains here. Even though the person has gone, smile still remains here. Your loved one returns in your hand, in Kansho. With joy, we're living in the same Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, we chant. I really like this poem. Even though I don't have clear memories of my grandfather, this poem always reminds me of my grandfather's words. My grandmother was living her life strongly even after she lost her husband. I would imagine my grandmother must have cried a lot. However, his words have encouraged her. He's with us in Nembutsu anytime, anywhere, through the Nembutsu teaching. I found the Namo Amida Butsu is a gift which my grandfather gave not only to me, but also to our whole family. Amida, in his name Buddha, means immeasurable life and light. It represents Amida's teaching that goes beyond time and space with the exception. It not only benefits direct family members, but everyone around us. It nurtures and helps our spiritual growth. As Shakyamuni Buddha taught, we have to face many difficulties in our lives. Life is suffering. We have to encounter sadness as well as happiness. I wish I only had to deal with happiness, but sometimes we are able to learn more important things from difficulties and challenges. Each moment of happiness or sadness in my life, I can see the whole picture, but after encountering the Buddha's teaching, we can realize these experiences make us who we are today. So please remember, our loved one our loved ones know your loneliness when you feel loneliness, and they know your tears when you miss them. They rejoice your happiness with you when you're happy. They stay by our side, as a Buddha. Our relationship never ends even after their death. When you recite Nembutsu Namo Amida Butsu, please remember our loved ones, encourage our lives, and nurtures us as Buddha. So please join me in Kansho. I'd like to conclude this Dharma talk with Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Reverend Abiko will lead the Sutra Sambujo. This will be followed by a dedication and then the chanting of the Sutra Junirai.
Sa Hyobakumon dedication with deepest reverence and gratitude for the awe-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. We reaffirm the three homages. Namo Kie Butsu. I go to the Buddha for guidance. Namo Kie Ho. I go to the Dharma for guidance. Namo Kie So. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
무비무
国諸さ利悪徳自在子が町内みだそ十法名門菩薩衆無料小魔女三段一生修上願力順子が町内みだそ本体保険知書家前言少女名内さんおひざ上女仙の子が町内みだそ十法将来小無視権限人図し安楽戦後尊厳上空業子が町内みだそ小無常無がと薬尿水月伝よろ一種説法無名字子が町内みだそ非尊仏説無悪名薬無女人悪道不主任主心教必尊子が町内みだそ非尊無料法勉強無償修悪知識往生不体死亡大子が町内みだそ合説非尊功徳寺修善無変如海水小脈前後少女者世修上小平語
And now a musical interlude by Kevin Iwamura. Today's Dharma message will be given by Reverend Etsuko Mikame. Reverend Mikame is from the Shimane Prefecture, Japan, and is currently a minister at the San Jose Betsuin.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Etsuko Mikame from San Jose Buddhist Church, Betsuin. I'm very honored that I can join your online Hoonko service this morning. Thank you very much for having me. At the beginning of my Dhamma talk, I'd like to share the wasan written by our founder Shinran Shonin. Please show me in Kansho. Such is the benevolence of Amida's great compassion that we must strive to return in, even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of our masters and true teachers, that we must endeavor to apply it, even to our bones becoming dust. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Okay, thank you very much. So this is an ondok-san, which usually sing at the end of the service. So this is a song to praise the benevolence of Amida's great compassion. So today is a Hoonko service. So Hoonko service is a time to express our gratitude to Shinran Shonin, the founder, on the time of his death, January 16, 1262. Yeah. Literally, the Japanese characters ho-on means return of gratitude, and ko means gathering. So Hoonko means gathering of to return of our gratitude to Shinran Shonin. Yes, and today, so I'd like to share the structure of kanji, especially on. I'd like to focus on on, kanji on. Okay. So the birth of Chinese character kanji was about 3,300 years ago, and each kanji is composed based on the actual events or situations. So each kanji has its background story. Especially this kanji on. on. There is very interesting kanji. When you focus on only the upper part, which is this part, so this is in Japanese, which means origin, cause, or source in English. So when we say cause and effects, so this kanji means cause. Okay? So this kanji shows us a baby is sleeping in the bed peacefully, just like this. So this part expresses a baby, and this square shows the bed. Okay, so imagine this baby is you. So this is a picture of you lying in the bed, is sleeping without any fear. Why does this kanji means origin then? Some people say that is because sleep is the most fundamental thing in our lives. And others said that is because everyone were originally a baby in the origin of a human being. I don't know which is the correct thing. But imagine when you sleep at night, you probably always lying on the bed or futon for your comfortable sleep, right? Even if you don't have bed or futon, you might lie on the floor, right? So you can lie down because there is always something under our bodies which we can lean our bodies. So if there are rocks or like something spiky under your body, you couldn't sleep at all because it hurts, right? But we can sleep because there is something under our bodies always. So this kanji encourages us to look at the base, origin, something which we make it happen. So when you look at the kanji on, so what is under on? What is under this kanji in sources, origin? This kanji means heart. Remember, this kanji is a baby sleeping in the bed, right? Peacefully. This kanji can sleep. This baby can sleep without fear because there are always someone's hurt. It's maybe mother, father, grandpa, grandma, sister, brother, friends, or teachers. Countless people's hearts. Thanks to those people's caring, love, kindness, and compassionate heart, this baby, maybe we are able to live. So this kanji make us realize that our lives are always supported and nurtured by someone's heart. So that's why this kanji means gratitude. We can say that this on, kanji on, means to appreciate what we already have in where we are now. Thanks to many people's support, effort, contributions, and kindness, we are able to be who we are now. So same with hearing the teaching on Buddhism. Thanks to everyone who guides us to hear the teaching of Buddhism, we are able to encounter this teaching and appreciate it with everyone. There are countless on which make us who we are now. So this Hoonko is very special opportunity for us to reflect upon our lives and show our appreciation on to Amida Buddha and everyone which guide us to Buddhism. So who do you want to show your on to? I want to show my on, especially to my grandmother. I was born and raised in Shimane Prefecture, which is located in the of Chugoku region facing the Sea of Japan. Do you know where it is? I think it may be difficult for you to imagine where it is. But don't worry, even Japanese people don't know where Shimane is. It is near Hiroshima. Shimane is the second least populous prefecture in Japan. So especially my region is quite countryside. So how countryside is it? I grew up in a temple family. My family temple is located in a small village rich in nature of Shimane, which is called Oda City. When you drive in my village, you can see family of wild boar, monkeys, and foxes passing along your car sometimes. I guess the number of the wild animals, such as wild boars and foxes, is higher than people in my region. When Rinban Sakamoto saw the map around my temple through Google Map, he seemed to be a little surprised because there are many rice fields and greenery on the way to my family temple. So as I said earlier, I grew up in a temple family in Shimane. There's a house besides my family temple, and my family lives there. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister, and I am the second eldest daughter in my family. Since my temple is small, my parents work at the school as teachers on weekdays, aside from managing the temple. My father was an English teacher at the junior high school, and my mother was a school nurse at the elementary school. Both of them have already retired and stayed at home. Since they were always busy for their work and came home late on weekdays. So my grandmother living together with us always took care of us until our parents came home. Especially, I was my grandma's favorite daughter. Granddaughter, When I was still an elementary school student, I really loved picking wild strawberries on my way home from school in the spring season. Of course, I ate a lot. I ate them a lot by myself, and I tried to take full of white strawberries in my hand to home for my grandmother. Usually, it takes about 30 minutes on foot from my home to my house, from school to my house. But when I was eating strawberries, it took almost twice on my way home. When I came home and then met my grandmother, the strawberries in my hands were warm by my hands and already like almost strawberry jam. However, my grandma was always happy to receive my strawberries. And after coming back from school, I have always visited her room and spent many hours with her watching TV, drawing pictures, and having snacks. My grandmother always fed me a lot like mochi, potato chips, chocolate, and baked onigiri rice bowl, which was made of the rice offered to altar. We had the daily routine between grandma and me. After watching TV until 5:55 p.m., we always went to strike the big bell outside the temple together at 6 p.m. Whether it rains, snows, or shines, every single day. You may know the temple with the big bell tower strike it 108 times on New Year's Eve, right? It is a symbolic ringing away of the 108 passions that afflict human beings and bind them to the world of delusion. But we usually strike the bell in the morning and evening to tell the people the time too. My father strikes the bell at 6 a.m. in the morning. until now. Grandma and I struck the bell 6 times at 6 p.m., one after another. When she struck, it was a big sound. When I struck, it was a small sound. The big and small sound resonated one after another through the small village at 6 p.m. I really love the sunset and view from the big bell tower. After striking the bell, we have always sat next each other at Gijin, outer altar of my temple in front of the Amida Buddha statue, and chanted sutra. Just like how we did this morning. This was our daily routine. Even when we got into a fight and I didn't want to see her visit her room, she came to call me as usual, like this. Hey, let's go. It's time to strike the bell. Come on. Let's go is me. Even when I wanted to watch anime more, she always called me, hey, let's go. I had no chance but follow her. But as I said earlier, I have 3 other siblings. She always called me. Sometimes I wonder why Grandma always called only me. I didn't know what we chanted for. I have never thought about it since I became a Buddhist minister. Do you know the common architecture characteristic which all Jodo Shinshu temples have? I have visited many Jodo Shinshu temples, not only in Japan but also America. I found all temples I have visited have common characteristics so far. And our Betsuin was too. What do you think that it is? Is it? The answer is that the space of Gijin, outer area, is bigger than the Naijin, inner space. How about your temple, Sonoma? Enmanji. Naijin is considered as the decoration of a Pure Land, which is a symbol of the enlightenment, and a space for the minister to conduct a service to appreciate the working of Amida Buddha. On the other hand, Gijin, which I'm here, so Gijin is considered as a space for hearing the teaching of Dhamma. It's separated, but why? In Shakyamuni Buddha's age, he found that the cause of our suffering lies in our way of thinking based on our blind passions, such as greed, anger, and stupidity, and showed us a path to achieve enlightenment in many ways according to the nature of the individuals. So that is why there are many Buddhist traditions. Our founder Shinran Shonin also struggled with his difficulties in his life, just like us, and sought the path to overcome his sufferings by himself. He conducted meditation to visualize Buddha in order to attain enlightenment by working around the altar with chanting and saying Nembutsu for 90 days without rest and sleep. He tried to concentrate to be mindful with Buddha in his mind, without any earthly thoughts such as thinking about your plans, what you want to eat for lunch or dinner, your feeling and concerns. Shinran Shonin gave up the ascetic practices. So because he realized that our minds are filled with unnecessary thoughts that make it impossible to attain awakening through our own efforts. And he visited his master Honen Shonin to ask for an answer. And Honen Shonin led Shinran Shonin to the Nembutsu teaching. Honen Shonin made Shinran Shonin realize Amida Buddha is already directing his body, his virtue to Shinran Shonin through Namo Amida Butsu. When you recite Nembutsu, hear Nembutsu, you're already in a virtue, within the virtue of Amida Buddha. This is a point that Shinran Shonin values Namo Amida Butsu, Nembutsu teaching. When you sit in front of the altar, each of you have different feelings and different situations. Some are happy, others are sad, some are rich, others are poor, some are sick, others are healthy, some are young, others are old, some are women, others are men, some are ministers, others are lay people. Whenever you are in any situation, however sad, angry, and happy you are, whoever you are, Amida Buddha is directing his virtue to each of you here and now. He embraces our lives as we are. Our lives are gradually warm and nurtured to be able to accept the interesting heart Shinjin by hearing and expressing our appreciation of Dhamma together. This originally comes from Shinran's attitude of ondogyo, ondobo ondogyo, equal compassion and fellow practice of the Dhamma. Shinran Shonin states in his writing Kyogyo Shinsho like this: in reflecting on the urchin of great Shinjin, I realized that there is no discrimination between noble or humble or black robes monk or white clothes lady, no differentiation between men and women, old and young. As fellow practitioners, there is no distinction between ministers and lay people, and in actuality, the teaching is passed along from one person to another. In this way, all fellow practitioners are the means by which the Dhamma is propagated. Shinran Shonin valued the attitude to share the Dhamma with everyone equally across all the differences between us. Therefore, Hondos in the Jodo Shinshu traditions are built based on the Shinran Shonin's idea. If we require a practice such as chanting, sutra, and meditation to attain enlightenment, the Naijin might be bigger than Geijin. But in our tradition, we put weight on accepting and trusting heart Amida Buddha by hearing the Dhamma rather than practices. So the meaning the Geijin is bigger than Naijin is that this is open place to hear the essence of Dhamma and receive the Amida's wisdom and compassion with each of us. Geijin here, this part, is allocated bigger to taste and share the flavor of Dhamma with many people in a tradition. So looking back to my old days with my grandmother, she never changed her attitude and tried to stay with me, even if I felt lazy to strike the bell and chant sutra, even if I was in a bad temper. I still remember how awkward it was to sit next to my grandmother while we had a fight. I didn't know why, but we naturally met up with each other after chanting together. She wanted me to realize that we're in the same Amida Buddha's compassion, even if our thoughts are falling apart. My grandma was my Nembutsu fellow practicer. I realized that my grandmother thought the important attitude toward chanting and her hearing the Dhamma as a Buddhist through sitting next to me and chanting together. However, sadly, she passed away last March, just before coming to America. Yeah, 2 years ago. So 2 years on March. So just before coming to America. So according to my grandmother, her daily routine wasn't as usual, but even the day before her death, she got up and chanting in front of Amida Buddha at Hondo. When struck the bell at 6 p.m. and chanted sutra in front of Amida Buddha. And ate dinner with her family and went to bed. And her death was the extension of her daily life. We tend to take it for granted, but we can easily forget about it in our busy daily life. The teaching of Dhamma illuminates the moment we live in our lives. I cannot sit and chant sutra with her anymore, but even if she is not here this morning, I'm fortunate to be able to sit in front of Amida Buddha at the kind of Gejim and hear the Dhamma with all of you as a Nembutsu fellow practitioners, just like Shinai Shoni taught us and like my grandma showed me. As I said at the beginning of my Dhamma talk, I said there are countless on in our lives. On. We owe everyone who nurtured us so much. We can reply. And we cannot perfectly reply, but we can appreciate what we have already received in our lives and share the kindness with others. That is a real hold-on return of the on, your appreciation. So I'd like to share my joy with more and more people in my life. So just like my grandma showed me through her own life. Thank you for listening. So I'd like to conclude this Dhamma talk with Nembutsu. So please join me in Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
I would like to thank the following: Reverend Mikame for her Dharma message, Reverend Hiroshi Abiko for leading the sutra chanting, the November Toban for offerings and flowers, Darryl Yagi for the Kansho, Kevin Iwamura for videotaping. Thank all of you for joining us for this virtual service. If anyone would like to donate, please refer to the Enmanji website. Please take care and be well.